And welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe somewhere on your page. And so this week, it is Friday in the land of morning calm. Actually, reasonable air quality day. So temperature is supposed to be warmer too. So I'm starting to kind of look up, and hopefully we will start seeing green coming for spring. So today's show, want to talk, because I had a thought this past week of why things change. I was looking up more about transitions and things like that, but change, yes, change is inevitable, but it doesn't mean that we have to have these big, giant, drastic changes for us within us. That externally, things are going to change. Jobs, where you live, your environment, all of that is going to change, okay? However, the thought I had this week was why does it impact us as much as it does? And it's because we allow it to, is what I came to the conclusion of, because I was trying to do the information look up. I don't want to say research, I'm not a researcher, for transitions, and it was kind of the common thread of, all these big things, even little things. You buy a new car, that's a transition. You trade in your old one, you have memories, you have attachments, you move into a new house, new apartment, new dwelling. You have memories with the old one, and there's not that connection with everything is always in transition, right? So for us in the military, especially if you retire, biggest thing that I was like, why did I have this stark contrast? Because that's what kind of we're told. Once you're out, that's it. You're done. You're out. You're out. You're out. And if you've done something for 20 years and that has become your known way of life, then it's a really hard transition, and we end up making it harder on ourselves because we're like, I don't have to do PT, I don't have to shave, I don't have to get the haircut. Or, we talk about, one of the things my wife and I talked about this past week was, the PT tests, and how I was like, you know what, my very last one, all I'm going to do is the bare minimum. I'm going to do my 60 for push-ups and sit-ups, and then I'm going to just stand at the finish line until right at that mark. But I didn't. I mean, I'm sure there are people have, and no knocking on them. It's just I couldn't. Even all the way up until the very end, I continued to try. And then afterwards, I just kind of stopped. I didn't have the things to keep trying for at that point for the military, right? For me personally, yes. But what I thought about this week is those changes actually don't have to stop. If you are having the struggle, or like with me, hopefully now, I haven't talked to him in a while, but commands aren't major buyers at the time, first aren't buyers, would talk about the struggle bus, and I'm like, why am I having such a hard time getting off this struggle bus? Okay. Part of it is because, I was used to getting up early or earlier. I was used to shaving. I was used to getting the haircuts. I was used to having this set battle rhythm of kind of how the day would go, kind of how the week would go, what needed to be accomplished. And, once you don't have those actual mandatory events anymore, and they truly do become optional, you're just kind of like, meh. And then you're just, for me personally anyways, I don't want to say I felt lost, but I was definitely flailing about trying to find a new battle rhythm, even though I didn't know that it would help me to look at it as a battle rhythm. So externally, you will have changes and transitions. Internally, you don't have to. You don't have to. I mean, if you have done something for 20 years in a set manner for you, with your schedule. You know what your core values are, and that's also within the daily readings I've been doing. They talk about what are your core values, what are your beliefs, what are these things that make you you. So the internal aspect of life does not have to change. You can still have all these things set in place, and you can just transition them into your new former military life. It doesn't matter if you're Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Space Force. It doesn't matter. If they are part of you and who you were, then keep them. You don't have to lose your identity, is kind of what I've really kind of realized. Like, I had built, my identity around the military for 20 plus years. You can still get up and do PT. You may not have to stand there in formation. You don't have to fall in. You don't have to do accountability. You can get up and do whatever PT you want. If you want to do MSEs, go ahead. If you want to do PRT or CrossFit or just yoga or HIITs, it doesn't matter. You can still do it. And you don't have to get up and be standing outside when the weather is rather poopy. It's cold, it's rainy, it's dreary, it's snowing. That's one latitude you now have to be like, I would like to do this comfortably. Whereas the military, we don't always have that option. Normally we do. There was a time I remember where the only people who were allowed in the gyms, even on really poopy weather days, were people on profile. Then it was, well, now you have profiles, go over here and go do that. Meanwhile, the, CrossFitters have their room that they do, and it just, there was always some sort of limiting factor there that precluded people from getting into a comfortable place to be able to do PT, and you can still do it though. And now you can do it comfortably, and you can do it at your own pace. You can do the exercise that you want to do. If you don't like side straddle hops or half jacks or burpees, then you don't have to do them. But as long as you're getting your PT in, because you can still take that performance triad and apply it to your civilian life or your former or your veteran life or whatever you want to call it. You can still have a battle rhythm. You can still definitely have a battle rhythm. Like, if you want to be out the house for X, Y, or Z by ABC time, then do it. And if it's a daily thing, then do it. Like, if you want to get up at 6:30 to do PT, do it. And if you want to be on the road to get where some of the first ones in the stores when they open, then okay, that's your battle rhythm. And it's just realizing that you still have these same things. Granted, civilians don't call them battle rhythms. They don't, when you look at your vehicle, you don't call it a PMCS as, a civilian, but we're still doing it. We look at the vehicles, we look at the tires, we look for external damage, we look for any leaks, we check fluid levels, like we do all these things, but we don't normally equate it to being called a PMCS. And you can set and meet your own suspense dates, right? If you're used to having suspense dates, man, and that was a huge thing. It's like, I don't have a time to have something done by. And, you get to set your own, and that's one of the things that I know in the military, we were always kind of like, man, why are they always springing this stuff on us last minute? They're telling me to do something, it's 1400, they want it done by 1600, or, by close of business, whatever. And, we are always very kind of frustrated by that factor. We still made it happen, we still got it done, but, it changes because now you don't have to rush unless, obviously you're trying to go somewhere else or you're on someone else's own suspense date, like your bills. Bills have a suspense date that they need to be paid by. Guess what? Get it done, right? We still do like, our pre-movement stuff, our PCCs and PCIs and getting them done. When you're walking out the door, you're checking for your keys, your wallets, your phone, your water, your beverage, your coffee, whatever it is, you're still doing them. You just don't equate it as like a PCC, PCI, and it's just kind of tweaking that mindset, adjusting that mindset of what it actually is. And I don't want to say it's provided me clarity, but it has really kind of eased some of the stressors that I have felt just this past week. Like I said, I thought about this. I started doing this on Monday and Tuesday. Tuesdays when I started jotting the stuff down in the notebook, and I was like, man, yesterday, so Tuesday afternoon, then yesterday or Wednesday and yesterday, it really kind of changed the mindset of when we're walking out the door to go do our things. And, and if you still like, if you're going to leave the house and you're like, man, I have to, I'm about to SP and I need to contact someone, send a text to yourself saying SPing time now, whatever it is to help with the transition until you don't need that piece anymore. When you get back, RP time now, whatever, passing checkpoint 1, passing, whatever you need to do. I mean, don't text and drive at the same time, and let, if you have the voice controls, by all means, but, it's adjusting that mindset to help ease with the transition. Nobody said you had to change 110% or 100%. Yes, there is change. Change is inevitable. Change is going to happen. Like here, it's adapting to that change, because like within the past week, the weather has been on the little weather app, it showed cloudy and this and that, and, never really showed any snow at all. Like, and then woke up one morning and there's a 1/4-inch dusting of enough to have to kind of sweep the driveway off and brush the cars off, but it wasn't on there. But guess what? Adapt, overcome, right? Swept, clean the cars, and everything's good to go at that point. So change is going to happen, and it's how we kind of adapt to that change and the things that we do to help ease those stressors. Now, stress is good. A certain level of stress is good because it keeps us on our toes. It keeps us wanting to strive to do better, right? Improve your foxhole, stuff like that, right? But change is going to happen. That's just, it's nature. The seasons change, so within the last year, when I was clearing an area to do some of the wood, knocked down a nest of cardinals, felt bad, picked it up, placed it in what I thought was a safe place. There was 3 fledglings in it, and, the parents kept coming back and forth, but, and then one day there was only 2. Then the next day there was only 1. And then like a day or 2 days later, there was none. Now they were not old enough to fly away, but the change, kind of really impacted me because I changed their environment, knocked them down from the safe place they had been in. So change is going to happen, whether we want it to or not. I didn't want to knock down that nest. It was purely by accident because of the vines, and I didn't see it. But, tried to correct, what I had caused, and, kept checking on them, kept hoping for the best, but, change still continued on. Nature made sure of that. And the mindset that we carried through those changes, though, is what helps them not affect us as much. It doesn't have, it's going to have an impact for sure. Don't get me wrong. But you either kind of do what I had been doing for the last year, just sitting and ruminating on these things, like especially for leaving the military. This is how it's supposed to be. Da 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 da. And wasn't always that way. I was not adapting to that change. I was not adjusting with it. I was trying to fight against it, at least mentally. I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be. And I just would sit and ruminate and do those things. But now with this, it's like, I can still use all this stuff. I don't have to find a whole brand new identity to try to become, especially after 20 plus years. It's part of who you are. It's part of those core values, and you can't just flip a switch and change, turn it off and expect it to not be there. It's just the nature of it. So starting to get a little bit long on this, but the mindset we have is what helps us. It's what helps sustain us. It's keeps us going. How we talk to ourselves and the verbiage that we use for even our daily activities. Instead of going to the grocery store, I'm doing a logistics and supply run. Okay. Instead of going to the post office, it could be the same thing, or I'm going to go do a mail run. Whatever you need to help with it as far as the verbiage piece. Yeah, do it. Take care of it and take care of yourself. So with that said, hang in there, keep going, keep trying, keep improving. Always improve your foxhole. Sorry, the papers are starting to flip around. So remember, you control you. You are responsible for you. Make good choices. Be safe and take care of yourself. Do PT, drink water, change your socks, take Motrin if you need to. Till next time, till next week, hang in there, keep trying. Proud of you for trying.